folks, and it is about 3:30 on a Sunday, so that can only mean one thing: we are out in the shed. Now, what are we going to do today? I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure you are all sitting there agog, wondering what in the name of God is he doing, filling a pot full of compost with a soup spoon. But that's just how we roll at Boyle and Talksport. We have to do things our own way to make things workable and keep the show on the road. Now, as is unfortunately always the case in any type of farming, there's going to be setbacks, big and small, along the way. As a neighbour of mine up the road always says, when you have livestock, you'll have dead stock. And even though I'm only a few months into the vegetable farming, the same line of thought definitely appears to hold weight, because while we have plenty of crops that did exceptionally well, there have been a few that didn't just make the cut. And what we've been doing before we just put the camera on, we have been going around and just taking out a few out of the greenhouse that didn't conform to the words of Gloria Gaynor's song. They didn't survive, so taking them out, and we found another few bits and pieces of seed that we can put down and start off as winter crops. So that is definitely one part of what we'll be doing today, and just observing what my beautiful other half is at just out of the eye line of the camera. You wouldn't know what we'd end up doing by the end of the day, but sure, we'll keep you rolling with us when I'm popping away doing a few bits here and see where it takes us. Now, dear, does this thing need
just a top up?
Needs a top up, the same as the other one?
Yeah, just
so
dry it.
In goes the soup spoon again. Did I bring in the sprayer?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was.
There it is in front of me.
I was like,
If it had a mouth, it would talk to me. Because whatever about needing fresh compost to liven them up, everything outside needed. Well, not outside, what was outside was alright, but everything in the greenhouse definitely needed a drink, because I actually thought by leaving the greenhouse open a little bit that it might have got some of the runoff of the rain, but it still, even if it did, and I'd say it did because it couldn't really avoid it, I'd say it still needed a bit of a drink. So I leave spoon sitting in there with handles sticking up so I can actually see it rather than going looking for it. And the chair is now in drive gear, so we are.
must move that radiator for you. It's kind of.
Yes, indeed. Well, please God, it mightn't be too long till we get a bit of lecky in here and we'll be able to use it.
And we're
Oh.
sort of going to try and get rid of them cardboard boxes this week.
Yes, they are going.
Finish painting for good.
Well, until we get a brainwave that we want to change colour or something.
Till
Oh.
you get a brainwave.
Excuse me now, decor is your end of the job. I only come up with the brainwaves that might make us money in 45 years' time. 1 cent a day on WordPress at the moment, folks, but please click on to www.boylandtalksport.com because every time we click on, we might make a few bob out of it. And I might be a millionaire by the time I'm 60. Also, most importantly, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Boyle and Talk Sport YouTube channel because again, the more subscriptions we have, the more options it opens up as to what we can do with the channel as regards improving in quality of content. And I was only saying to Susie just before we came out to the shed that having done the live stream yesterday from the office, I for a split second was thinking about doing a live stream from out here in the shed as well, but I then remembered, having researched it up a bit, that we can only do mobile live streams when we go past a certain number of subscriptions. So every one of you that click the subscriber button are helping us to bring better quality of material to yourself, and that in itself makes it a more enjoyable experience for me and for Susie, and at the end of the day that's why we want to do it, because as much as I would eventually like to start making money after 17 years after finishing in college, there's a lesson in that in itself, that I am 17 years out of college, and this business, i.e. the media end of the business, you do not make money in it in a hurry, and every little bit that can help you along the way, you absolutely need it and learn to appreciate it the longer we are at it. So please hit the subscribe button, keep watching, keep liking our material, and please God, this journey is only starting for you the viewer and for us that are coming up with the material as well. So I will just get Susie to hand me the bit of wood art and the little trinket, because I know I'm going to do an Instagram post about this very shortly, but while I have the camera running, just give us one at a time, Pat. While I have the camera running, there is no time like the present. This is a little trinket box which Susie picked up in, where was it, Deals?
No, the works.
Shop called The Works. No, I've never heard of it, but I'm sure there's plenty of you people out there have heard of it. This was just a plain wooden box when we bought it for very, very small sum of money, which she then applied her magic touch to, and it looks to be a marvellous job now. I don't know, it's that small of a box. I'm not sure what you would use it for. I know the first thing that come into my head, and being a man I wouldn't know a pile about this, but an earring box or something like that. And I see I'm getting the nod of approval from the corner, so I must be that far wide of the mark. If any of you would like decorative boxes done up like this as presents or storage or holders for stuff or whatever it may be, just leave us a comment either in the YouTube comments or comment under the post on the website or on Facebook, and we will see what we can do. And just I will now get her to bring me over a little bit of wood art which she did herself as well a couple of weeks ago.
Just for you.
Just for me as a present. Now I shouldn't be blocking it there. That should be visible now. That was a piece of white canvas board which you what's this, we printed out the words
Yeah.
on a sheet of paper,
Right.
stuck it to the white canvas board, then she etched it was a knife or something.
Yeah.
Etched around it with a knife, and then my glorious contribution to the production was to help her dabbing some of this paint around the place with little sponges, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yep. Makeup sponges.
Makeup sponges, there you are. Not something that I'd have any great use for. But these, I actually, and I'm not being biased now, but I actually love this, because if you want to advertise a business, a great way to make up small signs, or if you wanted to give them as gifts or make them up as presents, or they're versatile enough things that you can do with. So again, if anyone has any interest in getting any of these done, you know, all the channels of communication we have open. For now, I'm going to get back to my vegetable pot, and she will check in with you later again. You're rolling?
Yeah, well, you have to.
Now, I'm as shocked about this here development as you are. I have just been handed a paintbrush. This is the first time I've painted since I was in primary school. I tell you one thing we are missing, darling, a jar of water just for cleaning.
I know. I'll go
Will
get
you
that.
go over as far as the
I have a
house?
paper cup here. I'll get water for it. Back in a minute.
Okay. So, anyway, folks, yes, we're just trying something different to offer a little bit of variety, number one, for the channel, but more so, I have to admit, just to open my horizons to possibly a greater variety of activity with which to keep myself busy, I suppose you'd say. Do I intend making money or selling these? No, absolutely not. Not in the start, anyway. Sorry, folks. The senior advisor, who is heading into his 91st year, or is in his 91st year, just come over to have a very curious look as to what was going on, and left with an even more curious look on his face when he noticed what was going on. But I think I was saying to you before I
No, do you remember we're going to pull that off, so that's all.
yeah, I think I was saying to you before we were sort of interrupted that this is my first time holding a paintbrush to do actual artwork since I was in 6th class in primary school in 1994, which, in a very scary development, if I'm not mistaken, was the same year my good lady made her first communion, so that'll tell its own little story.
Well, when was the last time? You were 14.
In 1994.
Oh, 94, yeah.
14. Now, obviously, I have done bits of more heavy duty painting, if you want to call it that, over in the rehab with Declan and the lads. You would have seen, of course, on the bench, the garden bench that we did for Mam for her birthday last year, and the bird table was the other thing, and there will probably be a few other bits that we'll do over there in due course. I know, please God, without giving too much away, I would be hopeful that we will have a little bit more infrastructure in the office by the end of in the shed by the end of the week. There are a few other little bits and pieces to come in yet. As I was saying, whatever about the wood art and the little trinkets and things like that, I don't believe I'd be in a position to sell any of these. Well, certainly not yet anyway, because I'll say again, it's the first time I picked up a paintbrush in 26 years, so who knows, maybe if we get a bit more practice and get me eye in and me hand steady enough, who knows where it might end up. But for now, coming into the winter season, kind of, it's just a matter of having something to keep the mind ticking over and the body doing a bit as well. Now, I know we've gathered a bit of literature in the last couple of days as regards winter crops and what crops we can put in for the winter to keep us going, because there's one thing about any sort of farming, and again, I know there are probably some who will laugh, but I am regarding this little venture as vegetable farming for reasons that will become more apparent next year, I would hope. But no matter what type of farming one is involved in, one of the great beauties of it is that there should be something to keep a body occupied the 12 months of the year, but it have to be realistic as well from the point of view of that during the winter getting out here, well, we'll be able to get out as far as here, and in fact I would have hopes and ambitions of having here quite cozy enough for the winter. Between, you may have heard Susie mention the word insulated, as the rechargeable light just goes out. So I would imagine Darling is going to head over towards the, or have we enough light to keep us going?
We get this done anyway.
We'll get this done. Now I've lost my train of thought again. Yes, but anyway, you know, like even during the winter when being out and the vegetables outside may not be an option, at least the like of
try not to get in the black now, that's the hard bit.
I've just received my instructions there, so
you have the bit of tape for it, but just don't go mad. Anyone has not realised by now, Susan's a perfectionist.
Yeah. It's gone over a little bit into the
You're grand. Only, yeah, a little bit's alright. Because the tape will peel.
All's right. Without wanting to get
Perfect.
cocky about the situation. Yeah, I can't even see
Yeah.
the fucking tape line.
There you
It's the line.
I know.
Light has gone dead.
That's
but
not
sure.
great one either.
However, we might. I know we say this every time we do a video, but we may actually
Have to.
do a bit later. Or we could, I don't know, could we set up in the office later and maybe do a bit?
Aye.
Oh, yeah, there's a yellow blob off. There's one yellow
No,
blob
that's
off.
alright.
It's only one which we can paint over it. Or have I everywhere covered there? And this is because it doesn't matter from yellow into black now. Then
Hold on. Let me just.
perform emergency surgery there, dear, will you? Please.
What'll I do with you?
Sure. If life was straightforward, it'd be boring, wouldn't it?
Be great though.
Yes, I know it'd be great. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you will agree with me when I say that if life was straightforward, the like of me wouldn't have much of a chance of making out with what I have, but that's a whole debate for a whole different day. Let me see now. So I think, and I'll ask the senior boss person, but I think for a first attempt that wasn't
Oh no.
bad at all.
Right.
Now, even I was just about thinking about doing the same thing.
I think that's on the most. That's on the tape.
On the newspaper or the tape.
No.
No, so you that has your watch on the right way round, what is the right time?
4:45.
Right, so it's a bit tricky. Freestyle art, none to call it.
Aye.
No rules, just it's the same in one way at least. It's the same as writing. Just
True.
go with the flow. Do what you think. What you think works.
Sorry, I'm just checking it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've secretly been dropped without being told here, but the perfectionist is
I know.
at
You can do the
work-
other blue.
at work. So, oh, the other
Yeah.
blue up there.
It won't be as
right.
messy with the black.
Right.
That's not very Dunboyne yellow, is it?
Oh, it'll do. We know what it is. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, in case people are looking at this horrified, they are not the Dublin colours that are on the other half of that. They are actually the colours of the St. Columkills Club from down Susie's part of the world. So don't worry, I haven't jumped to the dark side or anything like that.
And neither is she.
And I'm glad she threw that in there because there's as many dubs down around her as there is up beside us. Not that there's a. in
But I
case
mean, if people don't know, we met because of Mead football,
well, we did, of course.
pretty much.
It was. The Mead Longford game of. Which
Yeah,
was
don't
obviously.
Don't
that-
ask me to do dates.
It's obviously 2 years ago now. We had been
Ooh.
Oh.
Paint.
senior director got painted herself before I did. This is groundbreaking development. No, in case anyone thinks, number one, I would like to point out before anyone jumps down my neck I have absolutely no problem with Dublin or Dublin people, just in case people were thinking I might have flipped sides or switched sides or God knows what. And Dunboyne is very definitely not in Dublin. Alex Kiernan, that is totally directed towards you. But yes, we actually met for the first time at the Meath Longford game of 2018. Now, we had actually been, what would we say, communicating for a little while, having been
Twitter.
Brought together on a Twitter debate over the state of Meath football at the time. Ironically enough, I think we were actually on the same side of whatever the debate was at the time. But yes, we met at the Meath Longford game 2 years ago now, over 2 years ago, and the rest, as they say, is history. And I cannot believe, number one, oh, I was just about to go somewhere. Oh, I see. You don't have to be such a perfectionist. The very first time we tried to do it.
Yeah, maybe I should have just said you done it alone and then I wouldn't care.
Well, people expect me to be messy. Well, not expect, but they accept it. Where am I going?
Yeah,
Here.
yeah, that's all that's left is the blue.
But yes, anyway, after that little paintbrush related accident, we met at the Meath Longford game 2 years ago, and the rest, as they say, is history. But I have absolutely no doubt and no hesitation in the world to say that among the many invaluable contributions she's made to my life in the intervening 2 years,
I'm just sorry.
there's absolutely no doubt that the resurrection, if you want to call it that, of Boylan Talk Sport and being able to broaden it out and engage in the production of content such as what you are now looking at has been absolutely invaluable to me, because I don't think I've ever made any secret of I've never made any secret of the difficulties I've had with my mental health over the years, and having my own website up and going has been an absolutely invaluable outlet and tool in combating what can be a very black cloud when mental health struggles decide that they're going to move in and park up for a little while. But there was also the element to it too that having worked, as I said in the early part of the video, for 17 years from the time I finished in college, having worked on and off here and there for little or no money, it was only through Susan's help and inspiration that we got to a point where we could say, well, right, well, we can at least even start to think about maybe making it into a proper business and starting to work and starting to actually make money out of it. So, especially when the beef finishing enterprise had to be parked early in the spring, it was simply a matter of having to branch out and having to find new ways to occupy my time and keeping my mental health somewhere right. Some of what you are seeing now, the likes of today, is very much in the experimental phase, but I think and hope and believe that I've got the vegetable farming side of things to a place where we can actually go the next step with. Now, what that next step actually entails, I'm not exactly sure yet, but I would be hoping that we would be able to grow even more crops the coming year, whether that be inside, as in a greenhouse, or um, out, outside in grow bags and boxes and that. I don't know, but I actually have. I'm going to go full blown Martin Luther King here. I actually have a dream that I will. Most of you will have, I'm sure, heard me talking at this stage about the area outside the office, which I call the jungle. Uh, it's overgrown and a mess for longer than I care to remember now. It My father actually sprayed it off early in the spring with Roundup, and following on from that, between COVID and uh, his own scare with the COVID, and then, as some of you know from watching the videos or reading my content or whatever, he, about a month ago there, was fairly seriously ill himself, to the point that thankfully it was only for a very brief period, but we were actually fearing the worst. But whatever the man is made of, he's obviously made of concrete or something that people of that generation were fitted with, because thanks be to God, he's bounced back to himself and is getting back on his feet again, and starting to potter around and have a look at the vegetables of that. But my point for mentioning that was because of all of the above, the jungle outside the window wasn't actually resprayed. So, as some of you no doubt know from watching or reading or listening to some of my output in more recent weeks, I have got a knapsack sprayer now, and we've nearly got the hang of how to set it up and get it working. Now, as I only said to the boss man yesterday, um, nearly every day since I bought the sprayer 3 weeks ago, it has rained, and any of you that don't know, spraying crops is a big no-no on either a windy day or a wet day. So the first the first day we get with no rain or not very high winds, uh, outside the window, we'll get a dose of of Roundup to move the process on a little bit further anyway. I would hope that once it gets sprayed off and the weeds and the grass and that die away, it would be my earnest hope that this time now that I have Susie on board and that she is spending more and more time with me, blessedly from my point of view, that once we have it sprayed off and the weeds and vegetation that have died off, I would be hoping that we would at least make a start on what to do maybe next. It's a fair stretch of ground now. It's actually a couple of years since I was down the back of it myself because a certain four-legged friend of mine who you have all got to know and become familiar with in recent months. That's been his territory, and I know if we do go to do anything, we'll have to rejig it around a little bit to make sure himself is still accommodated. But in the pipe dream, and now this will be the long term one, I would have plans to construct his own little bit of accommodation eventually as part of something I have in the pipeline for a long way down the tracks. But for now, if we got the jungle sprayed off and in an area that yes, buddy, I have just spoke about you on the video. You just barked there. You swear you could hear me. Um, if we get the jungle into an area that we could at least start to think about developing into, I actually have a few phases of work in mind that we could do out there. But the ultimate goal at this point in time, from my point of view, now I haven't even said this to Susie or the family or anybody yet, so you're about to get an actual exclusive. I would actually love to eventually end up perhaps with a polytunnel out there, which would expand the variety and volume of crops that we could grow no end to a position where we may even be able to produce crops for sale or whatever. That's a long way away yet, but it's certainly a goal, it's certainly an ambition. And if I've learned anything since Susie blessedly came into my life, that anything is worth trying and there's absolutely no harm in trying anything. So, look, as regards the jungle and the polytunnel and the whole lot, that's a long, long way down the line, I would imagine. But look, it's something to aim for, it's something to build for, and as regards dealing with both my physical and mental health, I have always believed and will always do that having a goal or a target to aim at uh, with a view of trying to get to it is it helps me along and it keeps me motivated and keeps me ticking over. Now, I will have no doubt that towards the end of the video, you might have also seen me doing a bit of painting, and I would have also displayed some of the
artwork that myself and Susie did together on things like the little trinket box and the Boyle and Talk Sport carving as well. Now, the likes of that are a long, long way down the line, but just it's options open. It's something to keep the mind and the body active, and who knows where it'll be, where it might end up, but anything's worth trying, and we'll see where we go with it. For now, the next thing I would imagine we will do, as I said earlier in the video, there's a little bit of infrastructure still to be put in place in the shed. Hopefully that'll be in early this week. I would also have to see, I think that's all the vegetable seed and plants that we have for sowing. I think that's everything in. I know, as I also referred to earlier in the video, we have some literature as regards winter crops and reading up on winter crops, and we'll be seeing now hopefully this week what winter crops we might be able to have a go at in the weeks and hopefully months ahead, because if I look at it as vegetable farming, which I do, the good in it for me has to be to be able to keep it going the 12 months of the year. I can't believe how much enjoyment, number one, which I suppose is the most important thing, but how much I've got out of it in so many other ways since Susie coaxed me to start giving it a go and has helped me along every step of the way so far. And I would hope there's plenty more to come. So I thank you for your support to date and look forward to sharing even more of the journey with you in the near future.